So we touched on this before about who you share what with and who you go to for advice. So there are some people that we just have to spend time with, whether it's family. So we can't eliminate everybody, but we can certainly build those empowering networks that we can go to. So we may have our snipers in our life that when we tell them our goals and our dreams and our aspirations, they've always got comebacks that shoot you down or that make you feel like maybe you're crazy wanting to aspire to achieve these things. So you get very selective about who you share what with. You share your goals and your property aspirations with the people that you meet like in our network or other like-minded people, like Tony said. Be very, very selective about who you share what with. When you're wanting to get parenting advice, go to other parents. When you want property advice, go to people educated in the property space. Don't have a barbecue and talk about property with just anybody at a barbecue, because you start to take on their thoughts and opinions about what's going on in the world. Like everyone's got all these thoughts and opinions around COVID and around this and around that right now. So be very, very selective and narrow with who you're getting what information from, and then choose to eliminate, disregard, shut down conversations if people that you're speaking with don't actually know what they're talking about in the space that you need good support or good knowledge in.
Well, the reality is that as humans, we are a herd pack. And so whatever herd we are hanging around with, whatever network we are hanging around with, when we drift away from the herd, that herd will try to protect us and draw us back into it. So if you're hanging around with people who are not into property, they're going to see property as this fearful thing. And so when you start to drift away, all their best wishes and their love towards you is to try and protect you, which is to tell you that thing is dangerous and don't do that. And that's okay, that's natural, and we need to recognize that that's the case. So they're going to discourage us from doing that and encourage us to come back to that pack. But if we find a pack or a herd that is doing property development and is going in the direction that you want to go, then once again, they are going to try and protect you within the nature of the herd. And so when you drift away and stop doing property development, guess what? They're going to draw you back into the pack, and they're going to draw you back into, hey, you should be doing this. This is what you said you wanted to do. And so it's really important that you're hanging around with people that are going to empower you on your goals and empower you on your beliefs and empower you on on your purpose and your identity. All those things that we've been touching on through this whole conversation, the people that you hang around with are the people that are actually going to give you the power to do that.
I love it.
When you, if you hang around with rat bags, chances are you're going to be a rat bag.
Yeah, correct.
If you hang around with good people, chances are you're going to be a good person. If you hang around with property developers, chances are you're going to be a property developer. And luckily for you guys, you are part of the largest property development network in Australia as Property Developer Network here. And so you're in the right crowd. So make sure that you come to events, make sure that you socialize and catch up with peers, both at the meetups and afterwards socially, and even, catch up with people during the week. Find people that you can shadow their projects, find people you can do joint ventures with, find kindred spirits doing the same strategies as you. And there are thousands of them in our network actually doing the same.
We'll also contribute to social media, Rob. So at the moment, it's a little bit hard for us to come face to face. I know that I've been very fortunate where we all live up here, that we had our meeting a couple of weeks ago, but for other states, they're doing it a bit tough. So contribute in the social media space. So get on the Property Developer Network group, the page, wherever you go to, and share, ask questions of people. One of the things that really struck out to me when I first started in property development back in 2015 is just the amount of people that were only too happy to help me. Like, it just blew me away. I remember initially thinking, what are they up to? Like, I was a little bit, sort of skepticism. But I've now been involved in this community for 5 years, and it's like they're just genuine people who just want to pay it forward. I think it's one of the other things, we've talked about, hey, find people who can help you, blah, 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 blah. But also, why not help others? Like Kylie and I and Rob get to live pretty special lives in the sense that we get to help other people. We get to make an impact on helping others. And you don't need to be a paid coach or a paid mentor to be able to have that experience. You can help someone else, right? So if you've been involved in property development for 6 months, guess what? Someone's just decided to get into property development today. There's something that you can share with them. What did you learn in your first 6 months that perhaps you could impart on someone who's just starting out in property development today? I was at the meeting last week in Brisbane. I think that, like, there was about 80 odd in the room, but about a quarter of the room were newbies, like never been to a meeting before. And it's like, wow. So there's so many people there that we can impart things on to help and to pay it forward, because it's amazing to be able to do it, and it's the right thing to do, and it keeps the dream alive for everybody. And that's what happened to me. You, Rob, were one of those people, and others were those people who paid it forward to me, little old me, many, many years ago. And now for me, I have a real sense of obligation and purpose to be able to pay it forward to others.
Very good. Now, as we are, I guess, rabbiting on just a little bit, we have gone over the hour, so I'm conscious of the fact that we've not asked any questions of our community. So let's just take this opportunity to wrap up those 7 things. So for those of you who joined late, we've been going through, I guess, 7 critical things that are going to help you to take action. So number 1 was finding your purpose or your why. Number 2 was setting the goals that you want to go and action. So, what it is that you actually want to achieve, and make sure those goals are actually aligned with that purpose that you're trying to actually achieve. Number 3 is your identity. So who do you actually identify with? Are you doing this as a hobby, or are you treating this as a business and actually being professional in everything that you do? And are you executing against those goals with purpose, with the integrity that you believe in? Number 4 was values and beliefs. Have you got limiting beliefs that are actually slowing you down, or have you got empowering beliefs that are actually going to be pushing and driving you forward? Number 5 is your capabilities. So identify your strengths and weaknesses, and build on your strengths, and go and educate yourself in and around your weaknesses. Make sure that those education elements are going to give you something that is going to help you towards your goals, that are going to help you towards your purpose. Don't just do a random course. Find the one that actually slots in exactly where you want to go. Number 6 is behaviors, taking action, making sure that action is aligned to all of those foundational steps that we've actually put in front of us, so that the purposes and the goals and the identities, so the behaviors we take are actually going to be in alignment with that. And number 7 is your environment. Make sure you're hanging around with people who are aligned with the same place that you want to go, and are going to set you up for that success for yourselves. So there are our 7 steps. And that's just the 3 of us rattling on for this little bit. What I think we should do is reach out to the audience and see what questions that they've actually got for us.
Yeah,
so that said, give me 2 seconds while I rifle through Facebook and see who and what we've got out there. So hundreds of people actually saying hello. So I'm just going to do, I guess, the giant hello to absolutely everybody.
Hello.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a ton of people on board at the moment. So let me see if I can find a couple of questions that are coming through. Now, Luke's got a couple of comments. So awareness about yourself, who you are and what you're about. So absolutely. Kay Wong is saying benefit of the benefit. Well said. What is it that you look for, Rob? I wish I could just meditate all day. I'm not quite sure I understand what.
Let me answer it for you, Rob. So this was when we were talking about purpose, and you were talking about the benefit of the money. So for you, your purpose is 1,000 people.
I'm setting 1,000 people financially free by the year 2030. That's my purpose.
See what I did then, Kylie? I'm setting him up to come in there and hit the home run.
Well done, Tony.
Oh yeah, I've been here long enough. Know how it works.
Very good. So see what other questions we've got in here. So there's a couple that are just comments on the fly. So I might actually skip some of them. But so Frank says, yes, property is a business. It took me 1 year to find the first one to subdivide. Absolutely, Frank. And I'm going to say, most people, 6 to 9 months is typical if you're like locked in hard with knowing exactly what you're wanting to do, and you've got the right education and mentoring sitting behind you. If you don't have that, then a year and a half is not unreasonable. And if you're trying to find your own way, then it does take a little longer, because we have to forge our own path. My encouragement to everyone out there, though, is don't forge your own path. There are thousands of people that have forged the path for you already, and already blazoned a trail and cut through the jungle with the machete already. Follow that path, and make the path a little bit wider for the next person that comes behind you.
Yep.
John says, the people I know have other small businesses. Sorry, it's whizzing past really quick. There are too many people talking too fast. The people I know who've other small businesses, whether it's a Visa phone shop or investment property to a dentist, have decided to further grow their wealth in property development. Absolutely, John. I'm going to say that 80% of the top 200 richest people in Australia on the BRW Rich List are in and around property and or property development. It's a fantastic place to build your wealth. And property development allows you to do that at scale, and also do that at a wholesale rate, because we're actually manufacturing the profit ourselves. Felicity's got a comment. Prove it, Rob, say it again. I think that was around the comment that I was trying to paraphrase you, Tony, and see if I can get it right again. I am not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am, but I am what I think that you think that I am. There you go, Felicity. I've proven it. So
you're on fire.
There you go. Sean says, love that phrase from
Tom Bilyau and Jay Shetty interview. So that's where I get it. So just in the spirit of disclosure, it's not me inventing this. This is where I picked it up from. So Sean's seen that interview, but it's such a true phrase where if I think that you like me, then that changes my mood. Versus if I think that you don't like me, then again, my shoulders will be slumped. And this happens all of the time. All of the time. What someone says about you, thinks about you, none of your business.
Yes, absolutely. Just trying to, a lot of these are just comments, so I'll skip some of those. Just after picks you up and, okay, so I think Luke lost his audio for a little bit. So apologies, Luke. Hopefully that didn't happen to everyone. Peter Henley's got a comment, the monkey experiment. I'm not sure what the reference is there, but anyone got any insights into that one? No?
Nope.
No,
not sure.
No. Okay, so Sean has kindly done the link to that Jay Shetty interview. So thank you, Sean. That's greatly appreciated, mate.
Good.
Some people, so John has said, some people like behind the scenes, as long as you've got a good show. I think that probably would have made a lot of sense in context, but as that was some time ago, it's probably lost its meaning there. So apologies about that, John.
Well, I think at that time we were talking about what other people are saying. So perhaps there's something around people like doing things behind the scenes.
Yeah, correct.
Yep.
Yeah. So Kay Wong has said, truly committed. Tony and Kylie, do you mind to show an example of you truly committed to achieve your goal? Maybe that will inspire all of us here.
Yeah, happy to.
Okay.
So you want to go, Kylie? You go first.
Well, I'll talk about when I was wanting to achieve my goal of becoming a coach.
Yep.
So that was many years ago. I think 2011, I started doing my coaching training. I had 3 children under 6, I think. So 1 at prep, 2 at home, 1 in kindy. Back then, before they started doing all Zoom stuff, it was all webinar. So no classes were held during the day. So I had, he's now an ex-husband, but a husband who worked FIFO. So he was week on, week off. So it was me with 3 kids, 50% of the time, with all of my classes scheduled between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. at night. So it was hectic. However, I was so committed to achieving my goal of getting my diploma in life coaching that I would have my laptop on the kitchen bench. I'd have 3 kids lined up on stools and high chairs, feeding them with my earphones in, writing notes, and just multitasking the best that I can, going back and listening to the recordings after. So this is what doing what you have to do in order to achieve your goal looks like. Like, it was hard. Sometimes I'm like telling the kids, shh, I've got to ask a question, or sometimes I'm having to zone out a little bit in order to be, there and present for them. And I'm not saying it was ideal circumstances all the time, but I'm just saying this is what I did in order to achieve my goal. It was hard. I had to be so self-disciplined. I had to be so organized. I had to teach my kids actually to be respectful of I've got needs too, and that it's not all about them. So I guess there's some life lessons in that. But that's what I did. Just kept showing up week after week after week after week after week, getting through all of my classes so that I could achieve my goal.
Fantastic. Well, I did something around, I did around weight loss. So weight loss, it's out there. There's photos of me all over the internet in my underpants holding newspapers, befores and afters. Yes, but when you go there, I'm conscious I put half the weight back on. So keep the comments to yourself. But in regard to that, for 84 days in a row, I had a goal, and I wanted to accomplish, eating the food that they told me to do, exercise the exercise that they told me to do, and I lost 12 kilos in 12 weeks. That was the first thing. That's what actually got me started way back in 2015. And I said to myself, if I can do this thing, losing the weight that I did, then I can do anything. The other thing that I did was able to leave my job. I set myself a goal. I set myself a goal of the 27th of August, 2018. And was able to leave my job on the 16th of March, 2018. And I got up at 4 a.m. in the morning, every damn morning for 18 months. My kids are a bit older now, but they used to laugh at me because I would go to bed before they went to bed. So it was a real joke in our household, but that's what I had to do to change my circumstances, because even though I had a very good paying job, I was so unhappy. And I needed to commit to change. I knew that no one else was going to do it if I didn't do it for me. So they're probably two of the more public examples that I've got. I'm happy to, be happy privately to share with others, but they're probably more of the two public examples of me absolutely committing to something and following through.
Absolutely. And Sean said, keeping promises to ourselves is as equally or as important as keeping promises to others. Sean, I would say it's not equally, it is more important that your promise to yourself, you need to put yourself first. Yeah. Make sure that you are looked after before you can help others. If you don't do that, there's no fuel in your tank. Trying to remember who said this particular expression, but it was the best way to help the poor is to not be one of them. So that applies to everything in your life. The best way to help your family is actually be in a position where you're actually in a position that you can help yourself. Okay, if you can't help yourself, you have no fuel to help others.
Yeah, absolutely, Rob. The other thing, it's around raising your standards. So this is the key thing here. It's about raising standards. And I think the point is, and Kylie, you and I, we say this to a lot of the students where, we'll have a coaching session. And so that student will commit to be there at that particular start time, and they'll do the session with us. But yet when it's themselves, they won't stick to it. It's like, oh yeah, well, I want to get up at 4 a.m., but no, the alarm's gone and I'll hit snooze and it's a bit cold today and I'll stay in bed. But when it's our meeting, they're there, right? They're there, they're punctual, they're into it, etc. And so it's about having similar standards. In fact, having more standards for yourself, to Rob's point, about putting yourself first. If you can't do this for yourself, no one else is going to do it for you. So you need to put yourself as an absolute priority. And when you fill your cup up, you have so much more to give to everyone around you.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's a case of having a little bit of accountability. So when we're doing something new and it's uncomfortable because it's not what you normally do, like what you do every day is what's comfortable and routine for you. And when you want to do something different, that feels uncomfortable, and you can easily fall off the bandwagon at times depending on what's going on for you. So often we're not accountable to ourselves, and we get more done when we're accountable to others. So when we're keeping students accountable and people are checking into us, it's not to create any form of dependency on us as coaches. It's to get them being accountable, taking those actions. And the more you're accountable to us, the more that you're going to become accountable to yourself. So sometimes you need a little bit of support to build that muscle. But at the end of the day, accountability really is what gets you to achieving the things that you want. It would be amazing if we all just had 100% self accountability and we didn't need coaches and we didn't need support, that would be the dream. Everyone would be achieving massive things every single day of the week, but it's not always the way. So sometimes you do need a little bit of support to get going and to build these new routines and new habits in whatever area of life that it is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So lots of people saying love today's session. So Margaret in particular, so important to be reminded. So thank you. John has thrown it out there. Even if you fail, you're still attempted to make progress. John, I'd actually say that failure is inevitable. And that's where we get our most learnings from. The important part is to set yourself up so that you can fail safely and fail fast. And have a paper fail of a project, not a physical fail. Make sure that you are doing that where you've got somebody looking over your shoulder, and before you go unconditional on a project, have somebody sitting there going, okay, well, let's help you through that and work out whether or not you should actually go and execute. We don't want to learn through a failure that actually has real world consequences where we can. So make sure you do that safely and often. The more we fail, the faster we learn.
And if you're not failing, the reality is you're not having a go. Quite frankly, you're sitting on the couch and you're watching Netflix. So get out there and fail. I fail multiple times on a daily basis, varying scales, but it's about just having a go. And when you have a go at something, you refine that process, you get better at it over time, you learn new things, and it's called growth. And that's where the magic happens. About get out of your comfort zone, get uncomfortable, get comfortable with being really uncomfortable and grow. And that's where the magic happens. And then what happens is your comfort zone then starts to expand. So your comfort zone might start off being this big, but now you're doing all these things and now your comfort zone might be this big because you're getting better, you're growing, and now your comfort zone's this big. It's called growth. And that is ultimately what I believe one of the real powers of being human is that we have the ability just to grow through life and constantly learn. And I love it. I love learning new things all the time. And I know you two guys feel the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always saying to my kids, I'm not perfect and I make mistakes every day of the week. And the more that we can acknowledge our mistakes and learn from them, the more that we're doing in life, the more that we can move on and make even better decisions moving forward. So I'm doing that to set them up to know that no one expects them to be perfect, because no one is. We're just always making decisions after decisions after decisions. If a decision has the outcome we want, happy days, keep going. If a decision doesn't, we just need to make another decision.
Very good. So huge shout out to my sister Julie, who has joined us some time ago. So hello sis, love you very much. Hope you hung around for the whole show, and it's probably I can't recall the last time I spoke to her, so this is probably her one and only chance to actually get to talk to me. Well,
don't mind us, mate. You just have a chat. We'll just kick back, we'll just sit here and you have a chat to your sister, have a catch up.
Oh, good. Now, lots of people, so Sam and John giving us the history of Meredith and their first deals. So
okay, good
to read about that. So thank you, folks. Peter's gone, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Absolutely. Kamal has said, hang around with dogs and you will get fleas. Yeah, 100%. I guess that comes round to, the environment that we actually hang around with. So
that's it.
100% for sure. Ali has asked a question, any meetups in Perth? And the answer is not yet, Ali, but if you can grab a few more people, we would love to come. We have delusions of grandeur of taking this thing national. So what we need is more people in your area to actually justify. And we need a little thing called COVID to actually allow us to traverse some borders. So you gather them up and we'll come and do everything we can to spread the love.
But certainly in the short term, Rob, what people can do is they can become an online member.
Absolutely.
So you can encourage all of your WA friends to get a little bit of an experience of PDN in the online side of things, see what it's all about, see the growth, the opportunities, how genuine the people within PDN are. And then from there, that may start to build the community over in the West, which then means once they, open up the borders, then Rob and the crew can travel over to the West.
Well, not only can I will, because my lovely sister who just joined lives in Perth. So I would, any excuse to mean that I actually go get to her, I'm sure that she would greatly appreciate. But to your point, Tony, with regards to the online community, our meetups are, I guess, live streamed every single weekend. So you can turn up to a meeting 3 weekends a month online, no matter where you're physically based. So I would absolutely make sure you do that, Ali.
Yep.
Okay, so in the interest of time, I'm going to skip a lot of these because there's a lot of them just saying, thanks, great session. So yes, thank you. That's all greatly appreciated. See if I can find one that we can add some massive value in these closing minutes. How long can property development last in COVID? Last 18 months and the population exceeds dwellings. I won't go into that one in depth, John, other than to say I've done a number of these Sunday sessions talking about the market and how COVID has actually impacted it. And I'm going to do another one in a couple of weeks as to, you know, what the implications of the phase 2 lockdowns have been. There's massive impacts that actually create opportunity. So every time there is a negative, there is also a positive. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and where the market is dropping creates opportunity for great buying to pick it up on the upcycle. You know, Warren Buffett says, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. And I think right now is a time to prepare and educate and get ready to be greedy and take on a number of projects that are going to pick up really well, I guess, going into next year, because the demand is latent. You know, population is still growing. People still want to come to Australia, but they can't because the borders are shut. And eventually that tidal wave is going to hit us again. So again, lots of people saying thank you. So I'm thank you in return. Peter says she sells seashells on the seashore. I'm not sure where that one came from.
Is that the get up, dress up and show up?
Oh, she sells seashells on
maybe it relates to that.
Well, so everyone's trying to sell their t-shirts today, are they?
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. If Peter Piper picked a peck of peppers, how many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick?
Well, that in itself was worthwhile sticking around for. Just that bit right there. That's a reward for still being here 90 minutes in. You get to see that. That's amazing. Always giving.
Do you know what? That has reminded me of one key thing that we didn't include today. And I know we're pumped for time right now, but the thing that we're always talking to our students about is how are you rewarding yourself? So every action that you're taking, you need to be rewarding yourself. You want to build that positive reinforcement with your subconscious mind that when you do things, you get great benefits from doing that. So whether it's sticking to your daily schedule, whether it's doing your suburb analysis, whatever it is that's on your to-do list and the things that you need to be doing, reward yourself, whether that's a cup of coffee, going for a bushwalk, which is something that I love to do on my lunch breaks, going to the movies, whatever it is. You know, we can all create our own list of rewards, but it is so important to be rewarding yourself along the journey, because you want to look back and remember all of the great steps behind you, and the great things that you've acknowledged and celebrated that you've achieved along the way. It's not a case of when you reach that massive big goal at the end of 5 years, then you get a reward, because that's really not that much fun and it's demotivating, and it just puts so much expectation on that end thing. So reward yourself every day, or as much as you need to, on the little things that you do and the big things and the big milestones that you achieve. Can't believe we hadn't mentioned that. That's one of our core things, Tony.
That's fantastic. Yes, it is, and that's amazing, Kylie. Thank you for reminding us. It's key.
So have skipped a lot of the comments in there because they're largely saying thanks, but there's one that's caught my attention, which is a little bit of an inward joke to some of those in our property development formula program. Peter Trong has said that he's watching Rob Flix, which is a reference to what one of our students, Julie, was saying during the week, where she's swapped her Netflix for watching, I guess, thousands of videos of me, and she's calling it Rob Flix. So thank you, Peter, for that, and more importantly for Julie for actually coining that phrase, and I think that one has started to stick. You'll
have to rename the videos in the members area, Rob.
Potentially. I think looking at this, that is pretty much kind of the end of what everyone's got to say to us, folks. So been a massive session, and really want to thank you guys for hanging around, Tony and Kylie.
Thank you.
Before you run though, what I do want to say is guys, we are now 8 years old. So Property Developer Network has been around for a very, very long time, and we want to hear your stories as to what we have been doing, running these Sunday sessions, running our meetups, running our training, and all sorts of things like that. We want to hear your stories as to how we have been impacting your lives. And in exchange for hearing your feedback, what I'm offering to you guys, so firstly, you can give your feedback by going either scanning this QR code or going to this website, which is propdev.info/feedback. So that's propdev.info/feedback. And I'll put that in the chat window in literally 2 seconds flat. In exchange for anyone who gives us feedback, I am offering a free masterclass on no money down strategies. It is only going to be available to people who give feedback. It's not going to be sold. It's not going to be found anywhere else. It will be completely free for anyone who's taken the time to give us the feedback, good, bad, or indifferent, because we only get better by hearing from you guys. And that allows us to go through our own continual improvement process. So we very much want to hear from you. So please, please, please take the time to do that. I will stick that link in literally 2 seconds flat. And a reminder, these Sunday sessions are every single Sunday at 5 p.m. Brisbane time, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So depending upon where you are in the country, and for those of you all the way in Perth, it's a 2-hour difference. And for those of you in Melbourne and Sydney right now, it's exactly the same time, but watch out for daylight saving. And lastly, we run a couple of Facebook communities. So our Property Developer Network group and our development site Deal Hub, where you can get off-market transactions. So folks, that is us. Wow, what a massive session. We are coming up to 2 hours, would you believe? That is massive. So for everyone who has been silly enough to hang around and watch us for this length of time, I thank you kindly from the bottom of my heart. And I am so ever grateful to Tony for being a massive part in starting this journey with me, in kicking my ass to actually start our property development formula program and expanding our network so large. And also grateful for Kylie to come on board and believing in our vision and helping us to take this to a whole nother level. So that said, folks, I'm going to say it is good night from me.
And it's good night from me.
And good night from me.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Clearly, you guys aren't two Ronnie's fans. It's meant to be, it's good night from me and it's good night from him.
No,
we're not. Sorry. No,
you're
mate.
showing your age, Rob.
No, nope. No, we're not.
Signing off. See you, folks.
Bye.